Peace and love, family. Peace and love to all the family. Um, we are on the M.O.I podcast, so we don't do the first responders. We don't do the perfect trifecta. We just show love to all the family as they come into the room as much as possible. So, where do we start? I say let's start in the beginning. Conscious Connect. She says, all right, all right, all right. A late night special on the M.O.I podcast. Yes, that's all wise, right, and exact. She sat the fire, the bell, hit that bell, family, and she's got her pen and her pad ready. So put some respect on her name. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Scrooge Greedy. Excuse me. I feel like I want to sneeze, but it's just not. I'm not sneezing. Uh, Scrooge Greedy. He says, tapping in from Tulsa, Oklahoma, at work. Get your pen and paper. What up, M.O.I? Absolutely, family. He already knows what it is. We all already know what it is. So tap all the way in. Number, well, there is no number, but yeah, we got M.O.I. He said, "Let's go." Absolutely, M.O.I. Can you come on in here and let's go. He also comes back back to back and says, "Share." So, family, absolutely, I echo those sentiments. Share this video. You already know what it is. Sam Brown, he says, respect. It is much respect, family. Much, much respect. Young Payola says, yes, sir. Yes, sir, ski. Oh, yeah, that is funny, though. James Bear Murray, the fourth, put some respect on his name. He says, peace from the HBGPA. I don't know what HBG is. Could you please tell me? I feel like I'm left out. Everybody knows but me. But yeah, absolutely. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on, family. Give me just 2 seconds. Let me give us a grand opening. Peace and love, minister.
Peace, peace. What's up, man? How you feeling? What's the subject? What we dealing with?
Oh, man. I definitely got one for you tonight, minister. So, yeah, I wanted to run it by you first, but I kind of just had to pull it out of the hat real quick. The Aboriginal's Masonic secret. I got a PowerPoint. It's super long. Of course, we're not going to get through it all, but I just want to kind of go over it with you and, keep me honest.
For sure, for sure.
Let's
hop into it and do it.
Right, absolutely. Now, before I officially jump into it, I just wanted to give a honorable mention that you're going to be having an event February 10th, 2024, this year, obviously, on
That's right.
Zoom. It's called the Black His Story Month, or the Black Mystery Month.
That's right.
Or
not
we
so black
are
history.
not so black. History Month.
Listen. Not so black history. Get all your cotton picking mind lecture, man. Tap in and get those tickets.
Absolutely. Tap all the way in. So yeah, Minister, without further ado, I wanted to go over this PowerPoint with you.
Please.
So Aboriginals expose the Masonic secret. I posted this June 13th at 7:58 a.m. I woke up and chose violence. I captioned it, never forget the the natives were slave trade Freemasons too. Absolutely everyone has played a part in our oppression, and they are all trying to tell us it didn't happen. Now, this is how I just kind of started the day, very antagonistic. But we do see Native Americans, and two of them have their hand in their shirt in a um, conspicuous manner. But I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. I just want to put that out there. Let's move on, unless you wanted to add something.
Please move on. It's a lot more to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's a modern day picture of all the chiefs. I think it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 chiefs in here. And they're standing in front of a big Masonic G. Context is everything. So I'll go into why they're even standing in front of this. So native assimilation. Masonry follows the course of European intrusion and encroachment. Starts in the northeast with the Iroquois, goes to the southeast, ends in the Great Lakes area. Masonry is based on rituals around concepts of life, death, and afterlife. This was in line with the native spirituality, so it was easy to adopt for natives. As for the pale skinned nation, which, from a native perspective, was soulless, this was as close to spirituality as he was willing to get. It was the only viable means the native had to assimilate in the new colonial society. And you see the feathers, and the G in this Native American Masonic picture. Chief Thayidani Niga. And I did this PowerPoint a long time ago, and I'm just now seeing at the end of his name, it looks like it says Nigga. I never saw that before now, but his English name, his anglicized name is Joseph Brant. It reads, born March, we don't know the day, in 1743, died November 24th, 1807. Excuse me, unalived November 24th, 1807. Was a Mohawk military and political leader and slave owner from present day New York, who was closely associated with Great Britain during and after the American Revolution. He was the Native American of his generation best known to the Americans and British. He met many of the most significant Anglo-American people of the age, including both George Washington and King George III, the heads of each side of the war. Excuse me. Where's my wall? Oh, here it is. Woo. I feel like I want to sneeze and it's not coming.
Hmm.
I want to
What year
sneeze and
was
it's
this?
just
Okay. 1743 to 1807.
well, he was born 1743, died 1807.
Okay. All right. Cool. Just trying to keep up with the timelines. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of shit going on in the late 16 1700s. With a lot of the Indian chiefs. So, but please
Man,
continue with this.
that sneeze felt good. And another one's coming.
Gesundheit.
Dunkashay. It's killing me. All right, let me get it together. Forget it forever. Because when I go hard, I get it through leather. All right. Focus. He was the Native American of his generation best known to the Americans and British. He met many of the most significant Anglo American people of the age, including both George Washington and King George III. While not born into a hereditary leadership role within the Iroquois League, Brant rose to prominence due to his education, abilities, and connections to British officials. His sister, Molly Brant, was the consort of Sir William Johnson, the influential British superintendent of Indian affairs in the province of New York during the American Revolutionary War. Brant led Mohawk and colonial loyalists known as Brant's Volunteers against the rebels in a bitter partisan war on the New York frontier. His sister was sleeping with the enemy, and he's in bed with the enemy. And he led the uh the natives who fought against other natives because it was divide and conquer. I digress. In 1784, Joseph Brant and his followers were granted a land treaty to replace what they had lost in New York after the Revolution. This tract, the Hallman Grant, is killing me softly. Um, to replace what they had lost in New York after the Revolution. This tract, the Hallman Grant, was about 810,000 hectares or 2 million acres in size in what is now southwest Ontario. Chief Brant relocated with most of his people to Upper Canada to the area which is now Six Nations Reserve, where he remained a prominent leader. He was the very first Aboriginal accepted as a Mason and received his ritual apron personally from King George III. 3 years, I should put the, the 3 years after the Boston Tea Party. Lieutenant Colonel William Stacy of the Continental Army was the highest ranking officer captured by Brant and his allies during the Cherry Valley Massacre. Several contemporary accounts tell of the Iroquois stripping Stacy and trying to take uh, and tying him to a stake. Um, Let me read that again. I'm sorry, excuse me. I laugh after everything going forward. Here on out, everything I laugh after that. After that, I just love that. That's my favorite one, obviously. So Lieutenant Colonel William Stacy of the Continental Army was the highest-ranking officer captured by Brant and his allies during the Cherry Valley Massacre. Several contemporary accounts tell of the Iroquois stripping Stacy and tying him to a stake in preparation for what was ritual torture and execution. I lost my place. Of enemy warriors by Iroquois custom. If we catch you, this is what we do to everybody. Do you know how much everybody is? Anybody we catch, this is what we do to them. Brant intervened and spared him. Stacy was a Freemason and appealed to Brant on that basis, gaining his intervention for a fellow Mason.
Let me ask you a question. Do it speaks of what right they were under? Like
Uh,
like
Let me see.
for example, the next slide you just went to. Next slide.
This
Yeah,
one?
okay. Yeah, right there. So you see where it says I guess Eli Parker Lodge, number 1002 of Buffalo, New York. 33rd degree Mason. Oh, okay. Scottish Rite. All right. Got it. Okay. Just wanted to see which rite they were in. Please continue to.
Yes, sir. Chief Eli Samuel Parker, born in 1828. We don't know what day or month. Died August 31st, 1895. Born as Hassanoanda, later known as Don Hagawa, was a Tonawanda Seneca, U.S. Army officer, engineer, full-blooded Indian chief. And I gotta admit, he does have a wide nose and thick lips. I do notice that about him. Now, that comb over thing he's doing, that was probably some of the jazzy things at the time. But he does have some Negroid features, respectfully. Nonetheless, and tribal diplomat. He was the grandson of Red Jacket, a close friend of George Washington. He was commissioned a lieutenant colonel during the Civil War. When he served as adjutant and secretary to General Ulysses Grant, he was commissioned a lieutenant colonel during the Civil War when he served as adjutant and secretary to General Ulysses Grant. He wrote the final draft of the Confederate surrender terms of Appomattox. Later in his career, Parker rose to the rank of brevet brigade general. When Grant was selected, let me just when Grant was selected president, he appointed Parker as commissioner of Indian Affairs, the first Native American to hold the post. He was raised in Batavia Lodge number 88, Batavia, New York, and later affiliated with the Valley Lodge number 109. He demitted and became a founder and first worshipful master of Akron Lodge number 527 of New York, of New York. Uh, Ellie Parker, or yeah, I guess that's Ellie. Ellie Parker Lodge 102 of Buffalo, New York, is named after him. In 1860, he was raised to 33rd degree Mason of the Scottish Rite by Albert Pike. By Albert Pike himself. Moving on. Or did you want to say something?
I was going to tell people to please be able to research Albert Pike. He was infamous for a book called Morals of Dogma. So definitely check out Albert Pike. He's one of those staples in both the Klan and into what we call white Freemasons. Mr. Albert Pike. Look him up. Interesting guy. That's it.
Okay. Oh my God. Chief John Ross, born October 3rd, 1790, died August 1st, 1866. Cherokee name, Mysterious Little White Bird, was the principal chief of the Cherokee Nation from 1828 to 1866 and was the longest sitting chief, described as the Moses of his people as he led the Trail of Tears. He led it. Where did I leave off at? Ross influenced the Indian nation through such tumultuous events as the relocation to Indian Territory and the American Civil War. Ross was the son of a Cherokee mother and a Scottish father. His mother and maternal grandmother were of mixed Scots Cherokee ancestry, since his maternal grandfather was a Scottish immigrant. At the time, among the matrilineal Cherokee, Anyone, Pocahontas, born of a Cherokee mother was counted as Cherokee. You go in through your mama's bloodline according to this belief system, of, of according to how they track their ancestry and they pass their lineage down. Junior. As a result, young John, in modern times, he would have been counted as 1/8 Cherokee by blood quantum. Grew up bilingual, and he grew up bicultural. Whatever that means. Carlton from Fresh Prince, because that's who you are.
Damn.
And experience.
Damn.
I'm sorry. Let me breathe. Minister, did you
No,
want to
no, no,
say
no.
something?
That ain't got shit. You going in on them. Continue to.
An experience that served him well when his parents decided to send him to schools that served other mixed race Cherokee. By today's standards, we would have called him a $5 Indian. I digress. After graduation, he was appointed an Indian agent in 1811. This Indian agent, let me tell you something. Yo, during the War of 1812, he served as adjutant of a Cherokee regiment under the command of Andrew Jackson. You an agent for Andrew Jackson? Minister, did you want to say anything about that particular person? You're an agent working for Andrew Jackson.
Well, the thing we got to keep in mind, remember, is there were a couple of different parties at play, man. In this time frame, you had the British, who were mostly East Coast, forgive me, and then you had like the French, who were coming up through places like Alabama and New Orleans. Of course, you had Spain also involved. So Spain and France were the two most prominent entities in North America prior to the 1800s, who were putting tribes against tribes, also giving tribes weapons too, because tribes didn't have guns, but they were given weapons and stuff of that nature. So it was the ancient divide and conquer for France and Spain. And that's the part of American history that we're not taught. We're not taught about what Spain and France did prior to Britain getting here. So dealing with Colonel Andrew Jackson, of course, he was made popular due to the War of 1812. He don't even become popularized after the War of 1812. Then he goes and clicks up with James Oglethorpe,
Mm,
who founded Georgia, and that's when Robert Duvall, James Oglethorpe's son, got involved with Andrew Jackson to kind of push back those so-called Seminoles, those runaways
come
who were
on.
coming to Georgia territory, wreaking havoc. A lot of those white Slavs
Come
or
on.
runaways became squatters on the land territory. Once the land was declared abandoned, that's when a lot of those white squatters took over. But that all started due to the fact that James Oglethorpe basically kidnapped Chief Tomachichi from Georgia and took him over to Europe to kind of, smooth him a little bit. Epstein Island his ass, and then brought him back. And after that, Chief Tomachichi signed over the whole territory of Georgia, and that's when Andrew Jackson kind of got started as a colonel.
Ooh.
He was just a colonel after War 1812, and after the assault on Fort Negro, and of course we call it the Trail of Tears, known as the Indian Removal Act,
Right.
and that's when he got popularized. And he also vetoed Lincoln's emancipation, by the way, or
Stop
he
it.
reversed it. Look it up. Continue, please, though.
After graduation, he was appointed an Indian agent in 1811. And just as the minister said, during the War of 1812, he served as adjutant of a Cherokee regiment under the command of Andrew Jackson. After the Red Stick War ended, Ross demonstrated his business acumen by starting a tobacco plantation in Tennessee. In 1816, he built a warehouse and trading post on the Tennessee River north of the mouth of Chattanooga Creek and started a ferry service that carried passengers from the south side of the river, Cherokee Nation, to the north side, USA. You a agent and you sending your people back and forth after they done kicked your man out. His businesses served as start of the community known as Ross's Land on the Tennessee River, now Chattanooga, Tennessee. He started that. Concurrently, Ross developed a keen interest in Cherokee politics and attracted the attention of the Cherokee elders, especially principal chiefs Pathkiller and Charles R. Hicks, who, along with Major Ridge, became his political mentors. I need some water. Ross first went to D.C. in 1816 as part of a Cherokee delegation to negotiate issues of national boundaries, land ownership, and white encroachment. As the only delegate fluent in English, Ross became the principal negotiator despite his relative youth. When he returned to the Cherokee Nation in 1817, he was he was elected to the National Council. He became council president in the following year. The majority of the council were men like Ross, wealthy, educated, English speaking, and of mixed blood. Your white card popping. Both Pathkiller and Charles R. Hicks died in January 1827. Hicks' brother William was appointed interim chief. Excuse me. Ross and Major Ridge shared responsibilities for the affairs of the tribe. William as didn't impress the Cherokee as a leader, so they elected Ross as permanent principal chief in October of 1828. He served until his death. And just like I showed you, one of the things that the Minister of Information told, because I didn't know this. I'm sorry, I'm laughing before I even told you. He said, wait, Minister, did you say that Noble Drew Ali had a Masonic burial?
Yes, he did. Uh, if you look it up, because I want to show the receipts. You know what I'm saying? This no disrespect in giving all honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You know, but in the energy of Cat Williams, you know what I'm saying? There's the line and there's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Um, in fact, if you look up Noble Drew Ali's dad, his father, Quitman Drew, he was a
Right.
very powerful Native American Indian chief also, along with his mother, Mrs. Turner, who was akin to the Natchez Indian tribe out of North Carolina. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar how close North Carolina and Virginia is. They're super close.
Right.
In fact, you can drive for 30 minutes and be in North Carolina easily. So the
Easily.
Natchez Indians out of Suffolk, Virginia, this was a Sussex County. That's where Mr. Nat Turner, the last Indian chief of the Natchez tribe, that was the last stronghold or skirmish for that. And which, upon my research, it showed that the vast estate that Noble Drew Ali is referring to is indeed fact true of North America. A lot of information that the prophet speaks about is right and exact, but I need the family to understand that there are some things that were left out. Historically, you can actually research Noble Drew Ali's funeral. If you want to take 2 minutes to do that real quick, and there's a newspaper clipping that tells you that he was buried at the Pythians, Knights of Pythians. You have the Knights of Pythians, Knights of Columbus, who were all Masonic bodies. So honors for honors due. Does it make him less or anything? No. He. It was said that Prophet Noble Ali removed the veil from all societies. So there's nothing hidden with that part of it. But and for those of you who even still doubt that Moors can be Mason, I would advise you to look up individual by the name of, what's his name? Yeah, right there. Let's read this real quick. Could you read the
Let me see if
bottom
I
of
can. Let me see.
go to the bottom of that picture and read that, please?
Yes, sir. Let me just see if I can. Okay, here we go. Hundreds of Chicagoans attended the funeral last week of Noble Jew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Temple, who died at his home after a long illness. Services were held from the Pythian Temple, and the Prophet was buried at Burr Oak Cemetery. Attorney Aaron Payne Ali, wearing white gloves at the left, became the new head of the society.
Okay, now look up Pythian's temple, and
Yes,
let's read
sir.
what Pythian's.
Is this it? Knights of Pythia?
No, Knights of Pythian's temple. Read
This one?
any of them.
Uh,
It's
this
organization. Okay,
this
scroll back up. Go to the first wiki joint right there.
the Knights of Pythia is a fraternal organization and secret society founded in Washington, D.C. on February 19th, 1864.
1964. No, 1864. That's prior to the prophet.
Correct.
All right. Continue, please.
The Knights of Pythia is the first fraternal organization to receive a charter under the Act of the United States Congress. It was founded by Justice H. Rathbone, who had been inspired by a play by the Irish poet John Bainham about the legend of Damon and Pythias. The legend illustrates the ideals of loyalty, honor, and friendship that are the center of the order. It was segregated and African Americans were excluded. They formed their own colored Knights of Pythias.
Okay. Now you can pause right there. You just read in the expert. The excerpt you just read said that he was buried where?
In the let me reopen close tab. It says were held from the Pythian temple.
You saying Pythian? It's Pythian.
Pythian.
Pythian. You have the Knights of Columbus, Knights of the Round Order. You have the Elks, Moose, Shrine, all Masonic bodies.
Right.
Now I don't want to leave a sour taste in nobody's mouth. Quickly look up Solomon. I think it's Solmian, or put in. Hold on. Put in the father of Freemasonic thought.
All right. Let me just the father of free Masonic thought. I hate when it does that. And for whatever reason, they keep putting that dog thing there.
Angelo.
Solomon.
Yep. Click on his wiki and let's find out who he is real quick. He's known as the Masonic Moor. Look
Angelo
at
Solomon. I'm sorry.
look at the turban on his head, y'all. 1796 he died. 200 years before the prophet was born with turban on his head. Please read.
Angelo Solomon, born Mahdi Maki, was an Austrian Freemason and courtier. He achieved prominence in Venice society and Freemasonry. He achieved prominence in Venice society and Freemasonry. Continue.
Yeah. Let's scroll down a little bit more. I'm gonna share, give you something interesting to chew on real quick. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Right there. Right there. In 1783, scroll a little bit. In 1783, he joined the Masonic Lodge, the Concord. He was amongst Wolfgang, Mozart, John Haydn. Y'all know who Mozart is, right?
Right.
Uh, Eventually, he became the Grand Master of that lodge. Fritz Hall was never a Grand Master of any lodge. He was appointed, self-appointed Grand Master. Angelo Solomon was appointed Grand Master. At this time in the 1700s, it was called United. It wasn't even the United Grand Lodge of England. It was just the Grand Lodge of England. They didn't unite with France yet. So this is the Masonic direction rapidly influenced Freemasonic practice throughout Europe. Solomon is still celebrated in Masonic rites as the father of pure Masonic thought, with his name usually translated as Angelus Solomus. And you read a little further, it says during his lifetime, Solomon regarded as a model for the potential and assimilated of Africans in Europe, but after his death, his image was subject to deformation, vulgarization through scientific racism that came later, and his body was physically rendered into a
Rendered.
specimen. So he's on live display as if an animal expert. He was stuffed. Wigger and clean, distinguish four aspects of Solomon: the royal Moor,
Wow.
noble, noble, noble Drew Ali, no, noble Moor, the noble
Ooh.
Moor, and mummified Moor. The first two designations refer to the years prior to his death. The term royal Moor designates Solomon in the context of enslaved Moors at Europe's court, with their skin color marked as inferior and figured as a status symbol, betokening the power of wealth of their owners. And it goes on to tell you that he was distinguished noble Moor. So this is 200 years before Noble Drew Ali. I yield the floor.
Jumping like Jordan. Yeah, that's all wise, right, and exact. So Noble Drew Ali has, and long story short, minister said real Masons get Masonic burials, and Noble Drew Ali got a Masonic burial. So I started looking at people's headstones, just like I looked at Joseph Brant's headstone, which you see here, and you see he has a Masonic headstone. Like, oh snap! And then I looked at Chief John Ross headstone, and he got a Masonic headstone, and I'm like, oh snap! This is, the minister's all wise, right, and exact. Now the minister knows his thing about this, this stuff. It's not by chance. So he's a legitimate source, uh, if any. But I digress. Where did I leave off? Did I read this whole thing? Yeah, I think I did. Served till his death. He in 1860 he was raised to 33rd degree Mason of the Scottish Rite by Albert Pike. On May 29th, 1963, the Grand Lodge of Georgia free and accepted Masons with uh, M.W. I think that's supposed to be W.N. Worshipful Master Brother Ralph A. Perry, Grand Master. I guess it's something else. Presiding, dedicated the restored John Ross House, home of John Ross, principal chief of the Cherokee Nation and illustrious Freemason. This famed house, built in 1797, is almost as old as the Republic itself. Principal speaker for this historic occasion was illustrious brother Luther A. Smith, Sovereign Grand Commander, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Southern Jurisdiction, USA. Marker placed by the Educational and Historical Commission, Grand Lodge of Georgia, Free and Accepted Masons, 1964. This is official Masonic uh, historic marker. They restored his house, uh, and I think he's buried in front of his house, where you see this gravestone at. John Ross, the leader of the free Indian world, was a Masonic agent. And I'm not saying he was a Masonic agent, but he was an agent who definitely was a Mason. Um, the good brother Chief Dot Harlem Hearted Salute says, "Oh my God." Says, my grandfather was a Grand Master Mason in Harlem. He depicted He's depicted in my profile pic. He taught me much. Oh, okay. Salute to the family. Much respect. So, Chief John Ross, Freemason. I'm not going to read all of that, but it's official tissue. This is not speculation. This is all wise, right, and exact. Anthropology, the study of human societies and cultures and their development. Now, the European, um, respectfully, not saying anything, trying to come off or say or within any mean spirit. This is only history. That's it. No more, no less. So Europeans uh, used the study of skulls to manipulate anthropology under the guise of anthropology, which I will say when they do it, that's pseudo. When they did the whole anthropology, the whole skulls, and that's pseudoscience. Um, and that takes the legitimacy away from anthropology. Outside of that, anthropology has its place, but when people say it's pseudoscience, I do understand, because with that whole skull thing, it really takes away from the legitimacy. But let's just deal with anthropology just for a second. The definition: the study of human societies and cultures and their development. You know, um, I digress. Arthur Caswell Parker, born January, February, March, April. I knew that was April. I still had to count just to make sure. Born April 5th, 1881, died January 1st, 1955. Archaeologist, historian, folklorist, museologist, and noted authority on American Indian culture. He's official tissue, family. Of Seneca descent, he was director of the Rochester Museum of Arts and Sciences from 1924 to 1945, when he developed its holdings and research into numerous disciplines for the Genesee region. He was an honorary trustee of the New York State Historical Association. In 1935, he was elected first president of the Society of American Archaeology. This dude has a decorated resume. Freemasonry also connected intimately with the rise of American anthropology, especially when we consider professional Native American anthropologists such as the Seneca Iroquois Arthur Caswell Parker. He was a 33rd degree Mason. A 33rd degree, of course, is by election. I'm sorry, the 33rd degree, of course, is by election. So here was an Indian whose peers elected him to be given the highest administrative accolade possible in his region. Did you want to say something, Minister, or shall I continue?
Nothing other than 33rds are selected. No, this is true. They're definitely selected. You got to kind of be like, like the shit and all your other preceding degrees, and kind of just be all over the place and doing a whole lot of great work. But just wanted to clear that up. You have to be selected, not elected. There's no election for that.
Teach. Okay, that's all wise, right, and exact. Anthropology and masonry. Starting in the late decades of the 19th century, a good number of scholars and aspiring writers found their way to the American West, where they in ingratiated in ingra ingratiated themselves among groups of Native Americans and wrote books about them. Some were professionally trained anthropologists. Others were popularizers and I'm sorry, popularizers of etho, ethno, ethnography. In the process, they appropriated for themselves the role of Indian expert and helped shape America's understanding of Indians through the remainder of the 12th century. So these white people were telling the story, considering themselves the authority on telling everybody about Indians. They're gonna, get a white person to tell their story. Same thing they do in Hollywood. Um,
And I want to add something to that. That's around the same time we get people like Franz Boas, also, and Franz Boas was explaining how we all out of Africa. Then you had Johann Blumenbacher. Then you had Samuel Morton. You know what I'm saying? It was so many so-called pseudo anthropologists in the late 1800s, early 1900s, which then brought about eugenics, and then which brought about Margaret Sanger going out to Indianapolis to eradicate the last group of Moors out in Indianapolis, this late 1800s.
mm, that's right. That did feel good though. Okay. Anthropology and masonry. So the point of this slide is to show we all understand the Masonic apron. And without the whole Masonic thing, quote unquote, the Native American culture called for a breech clout, which is highly resembling of a Masonic apron. Um, Not to say there's a direct connection, but we can see the similarity within Masonry and Native American culture. Before they're connected, they
Those
they I'm sorry.
those fringes are Hebrew. Those fringes around the apron for the Indians.
Stop it.
No, look up the of the fringe around the Native Americans attire. So, and keep in mind, the individual you're showing to your far right is a Native American, not an American Indian. That's a Mongoloid.
Teach.
He's a teepee Indian. You see on the apron in the middle, they got a teepee in the background. They
Right,
were
right.
nomadic. They weren't from here, but they adopted the Hebrew culture and language, as well as the dress from the tassels. Thus, the tassel on the apron as well.
Mm. Right. So we see the Masonic apron in the middle, and we see the fringes, and we see the breech clout on the right, and we see those same fringes. We see on the left the red and white royal arch apron, which a lot of people. I'm not doing it. I'm not saying it that it is. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that yes, I do respectfully see the resemblance with the Gmail logo as the royal arch apron. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that if someone were to say you don't see, yes, I see it, but I can't confirm it, but you know, I do see it. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, absolutely, Minister of Information. That is all wise, right, and exact. With those fringes, because I was going to forget to mention that, and I was not going to mention that TP because that's all wise, right, and exact as well. Y'all better tap all the way in. Um, I got some more. Actually, here, let me just look. We're on slide number 15 of slide 38. So we're not even we're not even halfway through, and we're at the hour point, Minister. I wanted to ask, what do you think we should do? Because I say, we've given them an hour, we should
Right.
close out here or do a little bit more. What do you think?
Well, I think if we do a little bit more, we need to go because you have two things you operate with: the private and the public and the private. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if we go private, there's a little bit more that we can dive into that the social media police won't be privy to it. So I say we keep going and duck off in somewhere private, bro. We can get a link to go somewhere else. Definitely do it. Just like February 10th, live on Zoom, man. I got to tap into this stuff. So it's really up to you, bro. It's up to you.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. What I say, in terms of what say ye, I say, we'll give you a little bit more. Um, it's very interesting. There's a lot more that's interesting. Uh, I don't know what it is. I just gotta get some water. Excuse me. Please forgive me. Get your tickets, family. Tap all the way in. Yikes! That laugh track just works with everything. I don't even sneezing. Yeah. But no, seriously, yeah. Get your tickets, family. Um, Black History Month, not so Black History Month, Black Mystery Month. We Not Black History Month. Maybe even a little White History Month. It's definitely going to be some Native American Indian history in there as well, or what you call Native American, if anything else. But yeah,
Amer-
tap all
American Indian.
American Indian History Month. The minister is going to do a PowerPoint. It's called Get Out of Your Cotton Picking Mind. So and he's going to have as much time as he needs, and you're going to be able to ask Q&A, talk to the minister, ask particular questions, or just whatever may come to mind, because you have that opportunity to speak with him at that time. So get your tickets, family. crumtv.info/events. Yeah, all right, so let's continue on. Okay. Arthur Caswell Parker. Freemasonry exercised an important. I'm sorry, can you read this for me, Minister, please?
Yeah, I got you, bro. Freemasonry exercised an important influence on the development of Pan-Indianism. Wow, never heard of that. Pan-Africanism, but Pan-Indianism in the 1920s. Almost every male Indian involved in society was an active Freemason. Arthur C. Parker, who used both his American and his Seneca name Gawa Sowani, wrote a pamphlet on American Indian Masonry published in 1919 by Buffalo Constitutory. Parker wrote of Masonry implicates link with American Indians. Told you, American Indians, not Native Americans, but American Indians, and noted that the Iroquois, especially the Seneca, were inherit Freemasons. He shared the views of his great uncle Eli S. Parker, that Masonry offered upward mobility in the white world and would preserve the memory of the Indian if my race shall disappear from its continent. Wow. That's crazy.
That's coming from this book to the right, American Indian Freemasonry by Arthur Caswell Parker. Just to let everybody know source material. This one too, please, Minister. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hold on. The most important degree is normally thought to be the third degree, which is the Master Mason degree. This is because of spiritual significance as deals with issues of spiritual maturity, death, and life after death. The murder of Hiram Abbott is central to the third degree ritual. People like Arthur Parker were at pains to point out that the ritual had echoes and correspondence with native lives, particularly the story that described the council of animal familiars who restored the life of the good hunter according to the Iroquois legend. The good man wrongly ends up dead, requires reconciliation, or resurrection. Resurrection. The animals give a part of themselves to restore a good man who comes back to life renewed. I'm sorry, with renewed spiritual strength.
Resuscitation.
Resuscitation. There we go.
And that's coming from this source material on the right. The little water medicine society of the Senecas. The council of the animal familiars restores the life of the good hunter. This is masonry. Instead of the lion paw is the bear paw. But I wanted to ask the listening audience of the matter of fact here. Let me see. Is it in here? I don't think so. Yes, it is. So I put a picture of the bear resuscitating the man. Because remember, he's dead, or he's about to die, or he's going through some death ritual. And the spirit animals, call them totems, they resurrect him in a ritualistic manner. And look at him. He's naked, but he has his apron on with the fringes. And this is very Masonic, because if you look at the very bottom, well, I'm directly under it, just like the minister told you in the beginning, go look up Albert Pike. Write that name down. Albert Pike. He wrote a book called Morals and Dogma. With Morals and Dogma on page 80, you're going to see the mock resurrection of the Master Mason. You're going to see the pagan altar. Now, with this pagan altar, they have a corn stalk. They called it maize, but corn. And they have Osiris. This is the lion's paw. But instead of a lion, they have a bear. It's a bear paw. You're also going to see this lion paw at the far left with the lion resurrecting this Egyptian pharaoh in the tombs. Excuse me, European Jesus. Okay, I got some water. That tastes like life. Francis Flesche, born in Omaha, 1857. We don't know the day or the month, but he died in 1932. We don't know the day of the month. The first professional Native American ethnologist. He worked with the Smithsonian Institution. He specialized in Omaha and Osage cultures, working closely as a translator and researcher with the anthropologist Alice Fletcher. Flesche wrote several articles and a book on the Omaha, plus more numerous works in the Osage. on the Osage. He made valuable original recordings for the traditional songs and chants. A collection of Flesche's stories were published posthumously, that means after he died, in 1990. Ethnology, because a lot of us probably don't know what that means. It's the study of characteristics of different peoples and the differences and relationships between them. These are the guys that are going to tell you the story of the Indians. They're all Masons. They're all half breeds. They're all uh, chiefs of their respective tribes. And this is from his book, a screenshot. Let me get some more of this water. Excuse me.
Damn.
I'm telling you, that laugh track work after everything. Um,
See what you were doing?
in his autobiographical book, The Middle Five, Omaha informant and ethnographer Francis Flesche relates a simple scene redolent with meaning. The book focuses on Flesche's experiences at the mission school he attended on Nebraska's Omaha Reservation in the late 1860s. One day, the government reservation agent and several other men came to inspect. Hoping to demonstrate all they had learned, the teacher asked one of the boys to answer the question, "Who discovered America?" Without hesitation, the little child responded enthusiastically, "Columbus!" Flesche reports this with no comment, allowing the irony of an Indian child who acknowledged only European discovery to speak for itself. Family, you tell me if that is a SELL-OLT, if you don't know one. Is this your king? This dude is like a Indian leader. Dane Calloway will never talk about this dude. Francis Flesche of Omaha Ponca and French descent. Excuse me. Flesche was the son of Omaha chief Joseph Flesche, also known as Iron Eye, and his second wife to 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 Annie, who was also Omaha. He grew up on the Omaha reservation at a time of major transition for the tribe. Before the establishment of anthropology programs, Flesche earned undergraduate's and master's degree at the George Washington University Law School in D.C. He made his professional life among European Americans. On Monday, September 5th, 1932, Francis Flesche died at a home of his brother, Carey, in the Omaha Indian community in Nebraska, where on the following Thursday, he was buried with tribal rites and Masonic services. Go back and listen to what M.O.I said. Noble Drew Ali was buried with Masonic services. This is important to how you can identify a Mason. Excuse me. Let me get another swig of this water. Okay. John Napoleon Britton Hewitt, born December 6, 1859, died October 14th, 1937, who was a linguist and ethnographer. These are people telling the stories. These are people in power. These are people that have a say-so in the government. These are your Indian chiefs. These are their sons, their half-breeds, Boule. specialized in Iroquoian and other native languages. Hewitt was born on the Tuscarora Indian Reservation in New York. His mother was a Tuscarora French, Oneida, and Scottish descent. His father was of English and Scottish, but raised in the Tuscarora family. He was raised speaking English, but when he left the reservation to attend schools in Wilson and Lockport, he learned to speak the Tuscarora language from other students. In 1880, he was hired by some dude of the Smithsonian Institution's Bureau of Ethnology, now the Bureau of American Ethnology, as an assistant ethnologist. He worked with Smith for years until she died. He then applied to the institution for employment to complete the Tuscarora English dictionary he had begun with Smith. He moved to DC where he worked as an ethnologist until he died. It was later edited and published posthumously as the Tuscarora English Dictionary. Hewitt's prolific researches, including studies of Iroquois mythology and language, were compiled in his well-known Iroquois cosmology. Excuse me. Anthropology and masonry. The recognized tribes were also recognized because they were infiltrated. I don't want to hear nothing about the recognized tribes. Nothing. You know how much nothing is? The recognized tribes were only recognized because they were infiltrated. They got a check every month to keep the lie going. Look at what this Indian dude is wearing. Look at what he's wearing. Why is an Indian dude? This dude is Indian, and I gotta be honest, he looked like my uncle. He looked, because you know Indians like to drink. He looked like he drank Blue Bull. Only people from the hood know what Blue Bull is. That wild Irish rose. That uncle. Anyway, so yeah, look at what he's wearing. What he's wearing is a crescent, is a savitar over a crescent moon over a star. That is very
Wait
Masonic.
a minute. I'm about to come in like Pastor Gregory. Wait a minute. Read. That dude be tripping. So we have to understand that that is the claw of a Bengal tiger. Those are
Teach.
claws. Those are claws of the Bengal tiger. The saboteur. Sometimes you see the saboteur through the head of the pharaoh.
Mm,
Those are called Shriners. When the saboteur is above, those are known as nobles. That star and that crescent, you say star and crescent, it's really inverted. The star is inside of the crescent, which represents
mm,
the sun. The sun, the moon, and the father. So it'd be like the child. So this is where the eastern stars come from.
mm,
The eastern star and the Shriners of the noble or the wise men seeking to protect the Ali child. They already had it. We already had the science. This is the science was already given. Who was giving it to those white folks for a short time. So I just wanted to
right.
point that that's the claw of a Bengal tiger.
Teach. Excuse me. Freemasonry after the Trail of Tears. This is coming from source material to the right. The story of Oklahoma Masonry. The first 75 years of symbolic masonry from 1874 to 1949. Around the time of the Trail of Tears, a peculiar institution arose within the Five Nations and began to spread throughout the Indian Territory. This phenomena is described in the story of Oklahoma Masonry. A number of Indian chiefs and other leaders had received their Masonic degrees in DC while there on official business. They, with officers and enlisted men in the army taking them to Indian territory, were members of the craft. Sorry. The history of the Indian Territory and Freemasonry in Oklahoma is so interwoven with that of the 5 civilized tribes that it would be impossible to separate them. Cherokee Lodge number 10 was chartered in Tahlequah, the capital of the Cherokee Nation, on November 8th, 1848, by Albert Pike's Grand Lodge of Arkansas. Where you get that charter from? I got it from Albert Pike. The officers were sworn in a Supreme Court headquarters on Kittuwa Street on July 12th, 1849. It is the first lodge of Masons established among Native Americans. This is post Trail of Tears, post Indian Removal Act. Get out. After they leave, they go over there and they be like, how can we get back over there? And they got back through Masonry. It says First Masonic Lodge was established in what is now Oklahoma. Because when they kicked your grandma out of her house, they sent her ass to Oklahoma. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a historic marker. You can read the whole thing, but this is the abridged version. On the 11th of November, I'm sorry, excuse me. On November 7th, 1848, the Grand Lodge of Arkansas granted a charter to the Cherokee Lodge number 21, the first lodge in Indian Territory at Tahlequah, the Cherokee National Capital. And there's a picture of it. You see it. There's some more dudes, but we've given you our time. We've gone into it. We've cited our sources. The minister has kept me honest. We've given you basically everything we can possibly give you, family. With that said, I want to, on my side, thank the audience for giving me their ear, considering the information that I've presented. There's obviously lots more, but that's about half of it. I'm sorry, please, minister.
No, I'm saying tons more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was a great demonstration.
Gratitude. I really appreciate that. But yeah, with that said, I appreciate y'all on my side as the guest because we are on the M.O.I podcast. With that said, I yield the floor. Thank you for your time, Minister.
Hey, brother. Thank you and family. Don't forget, tap in with us February 10th, man. February 10th, tap in. We're going all the way in. Like he mentioned, it's going to be a Zoom call. So it's a one-on-one Zoom call with myself and Cromwell. You can tap in, ask questions live. I know most of the times on this platform, you guys can't really tap in where you want to, but you guys can visually tap in and have a whole conversation. So this is time for everybody to engage and get that one-on-one time that we've been so desperately needing, especially those individuals who are disciples and master students. So definitely tap in for this, man.